The Countdown Conspiracy, Chapter 13, Part 1. I sit in our dining hall, prodding at my sandwich. Everyone chats around me, but I can't talk to them. No matter how I've tried to get in touch with Sasha, he still isn't returning any of my messages. I hate what that's made me start wondering. With our quarterly exams going on once again, I haven't had tons of time to try and solve this mystery. No one has, which is rough. Our families are flying here today, and since we still haven't figured out who's behind the attacks, we're all on edge, worrying about their safety. Tomorrow you'll have your second practical exam, Dr. Schubert tells us from his seat at the end of the table. I set my sandwich down to listen. After your families arrive, you'll have some time with them before the test. The exam itself will begin at 1400 hours. I glance at my droidlet. It's 12:30. Our practical is in 25 and a half hours. More importantly, my family will have left the house by now. They're already traveling. Going to be fine, I tell myself. They've got loads of guards. Please prepare as you would for a real mission, Dr. Schubert continues, setting his napkin on the table in a rumpled heap. We will assess your performance throughout the day, and unlike last time, you will be given a review. I look over at Lizzie. She nods reassuringly from across the table, but then Kreshkov smiles at me from the seat next to her, and I suck in a breath, quickly turning away. What happens if we fail? Tamaki asks. Yeah, Esteban chimes in. Would you really flunk us out? Get replacements for us or something? Anna shoots the two boys a piercing glare before I manage to do so myself. What are they thinking? Way to fail at subtlety. I want to yell at them both, but they're giving each other smug looks. They must have planned this ahead of time. Ugh. Dr. Schubert considers the boys for a moment. Raheem barely contains a groan, rubbing his face with his hands. I try to watch Kreshkov's reaction out of the corner of my eye, but his face reveals nothing. If you did poorly on this exam, we would assign you extra training time and take it out of your free time, Dr. Schubert simply says. We want you to succeed. I wonder if Dr. Schubert has me in mind when he's thinking about someone needing extra training time. But I also wonder if he avoided the question about replacements on purpose. Has Esteban gotten any closer to figuring out if Dr. Schubert has been my secret messenger all along? The professor scoots back from the table and stands up. Best of luck today. As his eyes make contact with mine, they seem to linger for a moment. All right, let's get you to your classroom. Lizzie claps her hands together. Calculus exam next. I hide and grimace as Anna walks out ahead of everyone else, giving me one last haughty look. There's just way too much to worry about right now. My brain is going to go supernova. Miraculously, my brain survives, but just barely. Quarterly exams wrap up, save for the spaceplane practical, and our families arrive safe and sound. Mom! Dad! Emmeline! They dash forward to meet me after going through two separate security scanners. The military-grade helijets they arrived and power down in the dark at the edge of the island, and I fall into my mom's arms. Ruby gets squished between us. Miranda! Emmeline yells, gleefully leaping up onto my side and clinging to it like a monkey. I tip over. Now I've got a robot on one arm and a 6-year-old on the other. Whoa there! My dad leans in to support Emmeline, wrapping his arms around me as well. They're all here. I hadn't realized how much I'd missed them until this moment. Mom's hair is still messy, Dad's mechanical watch still ticks loudly, and Emmeline is still a little snot factory. I'd missed it all. It's great to see you, kiddo, my dad says, his breath fogging as he pulls Emmeline off my side. I can hardly believe how much she's grown in just a few short months. We've missed you so much, my mom adds. She rubs her arms for warmth in the Antarctic wind. I've missed you too, I say. Then I laugh at my shivering family. Not used to the temperatures here, huh? They laugh in return. Around us, the other cadets greet their own families in the soft starlight of Antarctic mid-morning. I recognize Esteban's parents and his little brothers. Both of the boys are climbing on Esteban, and he's laughing loudly enough that it's practically echoing off the ocean. Behind him, Tamaki is chatting with his parents near the portable lights the staff are using to help unload luggage, and Najma is hugging her mom tight. What looks to be her dad and her older brother stand near her. Off to my side, Raheem has an entire crowd of people. Parents, it looks like, and also maybe grandparents. Then there's a boy, a bit older than he is, and two younger girls. Finally, Anna stands a ways away from the Helijets with her father. I recognize him from the advancing astronomy competition. They aren't hugging. In fact, it looks like Anna's getting some sort of lecture, though it is hard to tell in the dark. Her head is lowered and her dad is wildly. Does Ruby know any new tricks since you rebuilt her? Emmeline asks, drawing my scanning gaze back to my own family. I nod, hefting Ruby up higher. Tons. I've been programming her to help build our space plane. Our flight engineer, my mom beams. We're so proud of you. My dad rubs my head and Emmeline reaches toward my medbot. Can I hold Ruby? Nope, I say, shifting Ruby up in my arms higher away from my sister. Aw, Emmeline pouts. Come on, just for a second. No way, I turn. How about we go inside where it's warm? I suggest, starting to walk toward the main complex. Just for a half second. I'll be careful, I promise, Emmeline begs as we all trek toward the big building. I'm relieved that my family doesn't mention the security agents who trail us. I wonder if they made Emmeline promise not to point them out for my sake. Miranda, let your sister hold the robot, my mom says. No, I look at my mom. Ruby isn't a toy. Emmeline throws her arms across her chest. Fine. Then when you come home next, you can't play with my new engineering blocks. Emmeline, do you see this place? I gesture with my free arm at all the buildings we're passing. Like I'd want to play with some little kid engineering blocks. I hold Ruby even higher after Emmeline tries to jump after her. Be nice, my mom sighs, exasperated as we all enter the main building together. Bright lights greet us and we unzip our coats. Honestly, you two have been back together for all of 30 seconds and you're already fighting. It's probably been closer to 330 seconds, I say without thinking. My dad starts laughing. Is it weird that I missed this? We all laugh at that, heading down the hall toward my room. Shortly after showing my family my dormitory, we regroup with some of the other cadets and their families in the lobby to continue the tour together. But before we can get far, we're intercepted by our mentors and a bunch of our professors. You still have this spaceplane practical to prepare for, Dr. Mayworth not so subtly reminds us. We'll take over as tour guides for now, Dr. Singh adds. A frown creeps over my face, and I can hear Tamaki and Esteban in particular expressing disgruntlement from over by the Apollo mission posters. It's okay, kiddo, my dad tells me. Emmeline ducks behind him now that we're surrounded by a bunch of people she doesn't know. We'll have plenty of time to catch up later. I sigh. I suppose so. You poor thing, having to go prepare for a launch simulation? Being a Mars cadet is quite the full-time job, isn't it? My mom comments, grinning slyly at me. Yeah, okay, you've made your point, Mom, I say, shooing her away. Just get going already. My parents follow our professors down the hall, pulling Emmeline along behind them. And I can't help but smile watching them go. It really is good to have them here. After our families disappear, the 6 of us gather together for a final pep talk from our mentors. This is a different than your first practical, Lizzie reminds us once we're all seated in a semicircle setup of maroon chairs. Esteban fidgets next to me, and Anna's expression is unreadable next to him. You'll need to suit up, go to your mission briefing area, and take some fake press photos before even boarding Ambassador. Well, everyone but me will suit up. I awkwardly lean back, looking down at my hands. My burns may have healed, but my EMU was too badly damaged in the fire to wear for this run. It'd be a lie to say I'm not disappointed. We're doing our best to give you an authentic experience, Mr. Burnett says. Prepare yourselves accordingly. Everyone keeps saying it so you can feel ready for your mission in a few years, but personally, I think we're also doing it for fun at this point. Kreshkov smiles at us. So don't worry too much. We'll be watching from mission control. You won't be in the spaceplane with us? Najma asks. I thought. Oh no, Lizzie says. Vlad and I have done enough run throughs and practices with you kids that you should be able to handle it on your own. We all glance at each other. They start passing out the EMU layers, and I shrink back even further as everyone stands up. Sorry again about your suit, Mr. Burnett says, stepping over to me. It's a real shame you'll have to miss out on that part of the experience. Real shame. It's all right. I set my shoulders. He looks more upset than I feel. Mr. Burnett bites at his lip. Maybe we can. Not so fast. Lizzie darts over, her eyes sparkling. Miranda, you didn't think we'd forgotten about you, did you? Huh? I asked Mr. Burnett. Looks over sharply. Vlad, Lizzie calls. The Russian cosmonaut walks over with a box in tow. His eyes sparkle too, and I'm caught by surprise yet again at how much I can see Sasha in them. A new EMU just for you, Kreshkov says, thumping one hand on the outside of the box. I gasped, jumping to my feet. Really? Mr. Burnett's mouth gapes wide open. That's not possible. How did you? It was our little secret, Lizzie winks at Mr. Burnett. We didn't even tell Dr. Schubert. Miranda deserves this suit, especially after all she's been through. We couldn't let her go through the day without one. Not with her whole family here to see her. We put in a rush order, Kreshkov explains. It's just as operational as all the others. He sets the box at my feet, and I finally find the right words. Thank you, I say. I look at Lizzie, then at Kreshkov.